I think the 3GF is a fantastic opportunity to meet on a yearly basis in order to discuss many of the challenges we see in the world concerning green growth. And it's a very good opportunity to share ideas, what could we learn from each other, and what has happened over the last 12 months. Well, I think the 3GF is it's about concrete projects, but I think it's as much about talking what have we learned, what are we seeing around the world, what are, for instance, some of the main challenges within green free trade. What is it that we need to do in order to improve the situation, which is a big challenge at the moment. That's one very important issue, and share experiences regarding this. What I also think is very important is to get a better understanding of why this is so important. We have a fundamental belief at Vestas that the world is going to run out of everything. And therefore, it's not only just a question about for us to sell more wind turbines, but also to understand how do we think sustainability into the business model of all companies around the world, which is therefore something which is much bigger than just the fact of, for instance, wind power. We are known obviously in the energy business, and people might think that we would prefer only to speak with companies within the energy sector. We love to speak to companies within the energy sector, but what we also really much like to do is to talk to companies that are in different sectors, like for instance in the business to consumer. Because if we look into the forecast in the world, we can see that the consumer business have a very good understanding of what's going on, what are the coming trends. And if we look into the coming trends from the consumer business, we're seeing consumers around the world being much more engaged concerning sustainability of products. And that also is going to set the political agenda going forward. So how do we bridge this? How do we get better cooperation between business to business and business to consumer? And therefore it's a fantastic opportunity, like here the 3GF, also to talk to other companies in other industries how we're going to address this. I think obviously coming from Denmark, some people have asked me what have happened since we were here last year. I think one has to remember that in Denmark we have put in a very ambitious energy plan, supported by 171 members of the parliament out of 179. So a very, very strong support, which means that, for instance, in 2020 we will have 50% of our electricity from wind. And therefore I think seeing is believing, and therefore I'm very, very happy that people come here and actually not only hear about it, but see directly here in Denmark what we have achieved over the last 12 months. And I think hopefully that will also be a big inspiration for a lot of other countries and companies of how it actually can be done, that this is not a technological challenge, this is an implementation challenge. I think that not just here at the 3GF, but when we travel around the world, we get a lot of questions of how can you actually have 50% of your electricity coming from wind. And we say, well, why don't you come and visit us and we will show you. And I know that, for instance, here on the second day of the 3GF, there are a number of the people who were yesterday who were not in the conference hall because they're out seeing real life how certain things take place. And I think that's a wonderful opportunity because seeing is believing.